Hello and welcome to Freight Projects Hub podcast, where we discuss the historical developments in logistics in Kenya and East Africa. I'm your host, George Kidena. Today, I'm glad to bring again another lot of my friends. I'm here with my friend Hanif Somji of Freight Forwarders, with this long-time buddy, Jeff Pereira. I first met this gentleman in 1985, and we formed a very good friendship, a partnership in doing work together. This company, Freight Forwarders, has been here for quite a long time. Yep. Maybe you could, if you could tell us a bit of the history of the company.
Yeah, Freight Forwarders was formed in the 70s, originally amalgamation of 3 separate companies that were formed way before that. They then merged and formed Freight Forwarders. I think, Jeff, you can go back into the history.
Yes, the parent company at that time was Kenya General Agency, which was formed in 1932.
1932?
Yes, so it goes back quite a long way. It's, obviously, it developed through the years. I think the initial focus of the company was probably clearing goods at the old port, and then Kilindini as it became, as a group. We are more conversant with probably what happened in the 60s, where before the advent of containerization, the company, through an associate, well, I wouldn't say it's an associate, would you say the combined warehouses was not quite a subsidiary?
It was. Well, it was formed in the 70s as well. That sort of focused in on warehousing and the modern version at that time of what a warehouse should be. So they built the warehouses to actually accommodate containers on the back of a lorry to go into the warehouse and then be offloaded there.
Yes. The man was very instrumental for me when I was designing the single freight warehouse.
Correct.
I learned a lot from him.
Right. That's right.
Yes. So that is into 60s.
Yeah. 80s. And overall, as we move on, the industry has progressed. And to be fair, I think Mombasa Port, although receives a lot of negative comments, from our side, they have performed well and they have improved. If you look at the way in the old days we used to take 5 days to pass documents, transit documents and all that. Today it's 24 hours and it just it happens online. So a lot of positive changes. I think the investment in infrastructure, both at the port and railways, the new SGR, I think are important and relevant. If I look at Lamu, I think it's probably 20, 30 years before its time, but it's better to build it today and sort of hope to go and secure cargo and market it than wait 50 years and then start working. So in that way I think there's been good progress. Where I think infrastructure has lagged behind is on the road. Mombasa, Nairobi should have been dual carriageway a long time ago. And in fact, we talked earlier, I think the main focus really should be to develop Naivasha SEZ. Because Naivasha is where the power sources, the geothermal power, and really we should be, all the factories and all should be built right on top of the power source. SGR enables cargo to move from Mombasa to Naivasha within 24 hours, and likewise from Naivasha to Mombasa. So it's ideal.
So as Freight Forwarders, are you already using to get into the hinterland and to get
We did use it quite a bit initially, but then the rest of the infrastructure around Naivasha didn't develop at the same pace. So we do use it from time to time, and a lot of other companies use it, but I think a lot more can be done. That interconnection between SGR and the meter gauge should have been done probably earlier.
Yes.
But once the SGR goes all the way to Malaba and Uganda, then develops it from Malaba to Kampala, then there's no reason for the transit goods to go to Naivasha.
Yeah.
Naivasha will develop strictly as an industrial base and strategically located, because you can cover all the countries around. You've got Tanzania, Zambia in the south, you've got Uganda in the north. If you look at it on this side, you've got Southern Sudan, you can go to Ethiopia. So it's a good location.
So you see good hope for Kenya, for Africa Continental Free Trade Area, with Naivasha as a possible base for the...
Yes, I do, but then they have to go the whole way. You can't go part of the way and stop. The SEZ should have been developed simultaneously with the SGR. We lagged behind. We looked at SGR just from point to point, did not look at the last mile delivery. If you remember, the old railway line would actually go into the industrial hub in Nairobi, and you had all these sidings, industries built up next to the siding.
In fact, the old railway, that network in itself was very good for this part of the world. We have warehouses almost at every station.
Right.
It would be very good for distribution.
Absolutely.
All across.
I remember in the 90s, probably mid-90s, late 90s, we were moving about between 50 to 70,000 tons a month for World Food and Miller's by rail. It worked.
It worked.
And unfortunately, the infrastructure at railways wasn't maintained. Otherwise, even that old line would have still been viable.
Okay, the SGR is still there. Do you think we should be able to take the old railway line still?
Difficult choice.
Alongside.
Yeah. If we can develop movement from ICE Nairobi into the industrial area in Nairobi using either SGR or the old line, then yes. But it doesn't make sense to have two lines, Mombasa to Nairobi. But the worry I have, if we just focus on rail has limitations. It's only a one track, and there can be only X number of block trains a day moving each way. So we need to develop road. Around the world, road and rail compete with each other, and rail benefits from longer journeys.
I've thought at times that Kenya ought to look more broadly into the logistics of this nation. Having gone the devolution way, a lot of those countries are developing, but we are not encouraging intra-county trade, although there is infrastructure. Those warehouses that the MAL was building, they're now talking of areas of consolidation. I think there's still room for the old railway system to serve the local economy and the SDR to bring us into Africa, and where there's need for speed and competition for the thing.
Yeah, I think it's a valid point. If you look at the Port of Mombasa, it it should focus on the following routes. You've got the route up to Moyale and into Ethiopia. You've got Southern Sudan, Uganda, Eastern DRC, and partly Rwanda. But that's the market that Mombasa can actually serve.
Yes. Unfortunately as well, the old, a lot of the old sidings have been leased out to private companies.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you just look behind here, in Shimanzi,
Yes.
a lot of the sidings don't exist anymore. People have put up transport yards and things like that.
Yes.
So, to backtrack now, I don't think you could use that system, to be honest.
Okay. Now, East Africa. East Africa is one community, but competing against itself.
Yeah. Dar es Salaam has come a long way. And the mere fact that they have privatized their berths to DP World and Adani ports, you can actually see the difference where last year waiting time was 18, 20 days for a vessel to berth. Now that is down to 3-4 days. And when you consider that these two private companies only took over in the last 6 months, I'm sure we go forward another 6 months, it will be down to a day or two, similar to what Mombasa is.
And then they have electric.
Well, they have an electric SCR, yes.
Yes. That will take things faster into DRC and the rest.
Yeah. At present it's Morogoro, then Dodoma, Kahama.
Mwanza.
Yeah.
But you see, even if the trucks turn around at the Dodoma,
Yeah.
I mean, it costs a lot of days.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, a lot of days that people are taken to go to the restaurant and queue and pick the car.
Yeah. Congestion, road congestion at Dar es Salaam, to get out of the port,
Yes.
to actually getting onto that highway, you can lose a day just in travel time.
Yes, yes. Okay.
But Dar es Salaam, again, fortunate, it can serve Malawi, Zambia, Southern DRC, Burundi, Rwanda, and itself. So, you know, it's got a big market.
And you have footprints in most of this region.
Yes, we do. We're based in Dar es Salaam as well as in Mombasa.
Okay.
And have offices in the hinterland.
Okay.
Um,
Are you concentrating more on projects or moving?
Yeah, we sort of try and focus on projects. It's a niche. As a group, we are integrated, vertically integrated. We have our trucking division. We specialize more into the projects, so your heavy loads, out of gauge.
Yes.
That's where we feel there is a market that we want to serve. Moving a container from A to B.
Anybody can do that.
Yeah.
Say that again, everybody can do that.
Anybody can do that.
Okay, so are you still seeing a growing market for products in Africa?
Yeah, it's. I think we saw a lot of growth till a couple of years back, but it's coming. It's you can feel it. One of the major areas will be power generation, power distribution, and that's going to need a hell of a lot of transformers and substations around the country. So that's all heavy, difficult area to go into.
So you already have a foothold in DRC?
Yes, we do. We service the Barrick mine in Kibali, which is a gold mine.
Okay.
Probably, yeah, I would say in the top 3 gold mines in Africa.
Okay.
And it was a greenfield site on day one, and just to give you what has happened. Initially, the village around Kibali is a place called Doko. Probably had in 2010 30,000 people max. Today it has in excess of 300,000 people. It has electricity. It has a thriving economy.
And this is going through Dar es Salaam?
No, majority through Mombasa.
So you are seeing that growth generally in DRC. You see peace coming back? Or is the situation?
Difficult question. Look, the minerals are available.
Yes.
Investment, people are ready to make.
Yes.
But you need stability and security. If you have that, it'll change.
It will change completely. Okay, so let's talk about this again. We have talked about the railways, we talked about the roads, but we also have a very big asset in the Lake Victoria. Is there anything that you think is developing in that area that will make things better?
Yeah, in fact, one of the South African forwarders has just put up a vessel that will be able to take 25 semi-trailers across the lake.
Okay.
So if you, for argument's sake, get as far as Mwanza and you get onto the vessel, 18 hours later you're in Kampala.
Kampala.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will change. Actually, lake transport has to. Yeah, it's underdeveloped and has to. And then with it will be ports on the lake. So you've got Kisumu, you've got Mwanza, you've got Port Bell, you've got Bukakata, Bukoba. Yeah.
What's happening to Kisumu? Any interest in your sites? That side?
To be honest, we haven't really done anything in Kisumu. It was not been a natural base for us.
Because I tried to move, I tried to move petroleum products through Kisumu. But that's the time when the South Africans were running the
railway. Yeah.
And unfortunately, they are not customer friendly. There are a lot of people.
Yeah.
And at one time, I moved the cargo to Kisumu, only to find that Zamzam had pulled away his vessel.
Yeah, but there are now new vessels specifically for petroleum products.
Yes, in Kisumu.
And that will change.
Yes.
But again, it's going to be interesting to see if and when Uganda puts up a refinery to refine their oil.
Yes.
That will then change again the dynamics, how the petroleum products will move in the region.
Exactly. Are you foreseeing a time in the near future, in the long term, when Africa will just be trading with itself in most of the things that will have replaced a lot of the imports that are coming off?
Theoretically, that's an ideal situation. But I think the geopolitics of the region,
Yes.
there are too many vested interests, put it that way. That would be very difficult for it to happen. Definitely not in our lifetimes.
So the possibilities
The
there.
possibility is there. It's really the way to go. It's really the way to go. The continent has more than sufficient resources.
Yeah.
I think from a manufacturing point of view, we need to bring the cost of power down to international levels. Then you will get people putting up manufacturing plants in the region.
Okay.
There is no reason why we need to import what we do from China or India, etc. These should be able to be manufactured here, provided the cost of power is reasonable.
So power is a mother.
It's a principle.
So everyone is talking AI. Everyone is talking going computerized. I remember the time when in Singing we tried to do computerized customs declaration.
Yep.
And all our entries were rejected. And I made a lot of mess. I made a lot of mess. I went to see Wako, I went to see the total man. I said, what do you want? This entry is correct. The only problem is the paper.
Yeah.
Do you want the figures or do you want the paper? And that was in 1992. We ended up having December coming in 2002.
Yeah.
What is the future of the things now in
Yeah, it will be all electronic. Definitely. I mean, we're already halfway there. I think AI will take us even further.
If you go back, George, and you see in the old days when we were doing a customs declaration,
Yes.
we had 10 guys sitting, doing, manually this and then putting it, and then physically there were 3 people or 4 people typing the entries.
Yes.
Today, I mean, that's down to like 2 people really.
I was running training some K4 members on Africa Continental Free Trade Area. So we asked them to do an entry, to tell us what the tariff is. So the guy put up his hand. So my colleague asked him, so how did you find out? So I don't know, I just checked on the computer. So a lot of people now are able to do declaration
Right.
Yes.
without having to know how to calculate all those things.
We still have a big
Yes.
book like this with all the tariffs.
I remember we used to take 2 weeks to do a customs entry for CKD kits for General Motors. And we, by just simply computerizing it, reduces to 4
Absolutely.
4 weeks. Nowadays, I think one individual does it in more time. And I'm just looking at what will be the role of a clearing agent going forward. Because almost anyone can go and check what the tariff is.
I agree. I think in a certain way, clearing agents they'll have to evolve and specialize and give added service, not just passing the entry and taking it through the port. There's going to be a lot more that will need to be done, and you'll have to couple it with the last mile distribution. So you'll need to have centers where you receive the cargo and then distribute to the customers from there.
Yes.
But if you look at it with containerization, the overall improvement in how we process the entries electronically and all, we've made very good progress.
Indeed. So I'm looking at let's signal and red national shipping.
Correct.
And then let's signal shipping and then Kenya Air research. Is there hope for a national shipping line?
My opinion, economies of scale don't come into play. That's my personal opinion.
And the region?
I think regionally there is a chance. If you combine Tanzania, Kenya, and maybe as far as Mozambique, maybe even down to South Africa.
On the private side or on the public side?
I think we need private enterprise personally.
But if you look at you today have more shipping lines coming into the region than ever before. And they are competing amongst themselves. So you do get best prices.
Yes.
Imposing a national shipping company, will we get even better? I think not. Unless you work with one or two of the international shipping lines, where you share the vessel, etc.
When I was talking line, what I was thinking was, you have a lot of movement between Dar es Salaam, Mombasa, Comoros, Mauritius, Zanzibar, Pemba, all these areas. So, line I would see working would be a small East African coastal shipping line, because you're not going to compete with the likes of Maersk or MSC or any of them. It's just not feasible.
Are the railway lines coming together?
Not really. They need to. I mean, in the old days we had the Mombasa, Taweta, Moshi, Arusha line, and you could go down all the way to Tanga.
Yes.
We don't have that connectivity any longer.
I was wondering why we can't have an SDR to Taveta to go and connect. I mean, so that the region is more connected, and they can connect around the lake. But in between, I think this line was strategic in one way or the other.
Yeah. Again, I think a lot of it depends on what develops in the hinterland.
Yeah.
If they develop large-scale manufacturing or mining, etc., then there is a need for a viable railway.
So I'd like to now talk as if we are advising our government. We are the logistics sector. Okay. If we were told to give some advice for East Africa as to areas where we should put our greatest emphasis in terms of logistics, then 3 areas that you would say that come together and look at this, okay, give it to the East Africans, it will be a better place.
I think what you touched on earlier, lake freight, is definitely something that needs to improve. The border is still a hassle, in spite of all the changes and concepts that have come in. You still lose a day and a half at the border, and it does not make sense.
And what is the major issue?
The verification. I mean, if you have already, duties have been paid on that container, you attach electronic seals, you can track everything.
The clerks at the border were telling us, what is the use of telling us that electronic tracking device? And then when we get to Malata, we are told that the truck cannot move because someone in Nairobi is still making a decision.
Yes,
Instead of it being on the point to carry at the border, if it is on the system, where would you wait for someone?
Correct.
So borders are still.
And the borders are a problem.
Okay.
The other area, sorry,
Go ahead.
would be the airlines.
Yes.
I think if you went back to your East African Airways concept,
Yes.
then economies of scale come in. And look at Ethiopian Airlines, look at the volume they're doing, cargo, not just passengers.
Yes.
And that would help develop a lot of the floriculture, horticulture, places like Arusha, Nairobi, and Naivasha, even further infield, and Uganda. But you need to have an area with cold storage, a hub, so everything can come in. You can only do that if you have everything interconnected and as part of one center, really.
Yeah, it's from a lot of people that I speak to, one of the problems that we face in Kenya today is lack of space in Kenya areas. I mean, we are depending on Ethiopian and all the other people, and yet we are the ones who have the cargo. We have the product, but that's being moved. But I think one of the reasons is that I think we may have sold our slotting at Hitler. I think. And therefore, space to it, I think, has been is that a fact?
That's passenger. Right.
Yeah, but
But passengers where we carry our cargo.
I don't think we're carrying much cargo on the passenger aircraft.
unless it's to Amsterdam, maybe.
Amsterdam.
Yeah. I think, as Jeff has said, and Kenya was realized, especially during COVID times, when they converted some of the aircraft,
Yes.
cargo has, it's continuous,
It's
if you manage it well, it's profitable.
Every time there's a crisis, it's the airlines that make money.
Yep.
Remember the SARS?
Yeah,
Again, COVID. Okay.
correct.
Because human traffic just cuts. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's this can only be now taken out by car. But again, like we say, developing those networks, routes, sharing, code sharing.
Code sharing, yes.
It's an important area because it enables, it empowers you to carry more
Yeah.
on those routes. But I think it is reciprocal. You have to give way also. You cannot do code sharing one way.
No. It's what I'm trying to say is the economies of scale come in.
Yes.
Because right now you've got 3 or 4 CEOs
Yes.
running 4 different airlines that are all kind of not really this. You have one guy
Yeah.
running
Yes.
50, 100 aircraft.
Mm.
It makes a big difference.
So maybe a regional air.
Yeah, regional.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to maybe as we come towards the end of this, I want to talk about something that's a challenge to most Kenyan companies, and that is in the area of succession. I did ask you at the beginning, at what stage did you join the company? Straight from college, or did you work elsewhere before coming here?
No, I finished university and came here
Yes.
and started working, and then I went back to London for 2 years and realized, and I worked in London and I realized that wasn't where I wanted to be, so I came back here again. But yeah, succession planning in our company, the next generation worked. My daughters are involved in the business. They worked in professional capacity for a couple of years and then joined the family business.
Okay, they worked outside.
Yeah, they worked outside.
In similar organizations?
Well, chartered accountancy, consultancy, etc.
Okay.
At least a 5-year stint,
Okay.
and then they joined the business, and so they're managing the business today.
Okay.
My father, who will be 94 in January,
Ah.
still comes to the office 5 days a week.
Good.
Wants to know what is happening.
I was going to ask how it's doing.
Yeah, no, he's doing well. He's doing well. His mind is active.
Yes, okay.
His interrogation skills haven't changed.
But yeah, I think succession planning is very important.
Okay. So how do you encourage them? to come? Because a lot of people say that the young people want to chart their own ways. How do you convince the family to stay this way?
I think East Africa generally is a great place to come and live.
Okay.
Yeah, it's vibrant and it evolves at the same pace as the Western world.
Okay.
Plus, we have all the facilities. You know, if your infrastructure, your hospitals, schools, etc., all develop
Yes.
and are good, then there's no better place to be. Weather is superb.
That's good. So are you posting them in the region or they're concentrated here?
At present, they're all, well, 3 of them are in Nairobi. So let's see how it goes.
So I'd like us to, Jeff, tell us something for those who are in an organization called KIFA.
KIFA.
Yes. What's your advice for KIFA? I know we've been trying to come up with an act, okay, that will govern the sector. What would be your advice to the KIFA leadership? Kenya International Freight Forwarding Grants Association.
Yeah, we were one of the founder members
Yes.
of KIFA, so it's something that we really look closely at times. And I think there needs to be more unity among the forwarders. They can't be looking at individual small interests. There's a lack of people looking at the big picture, and that is going kind of pushing the organization backwards. It's not letting it progress. It's not just fighting for the rights of the forwarders or the industry. It's also helping to plan future legislation, documentation. Like you said, with AI coming about, it's a big threat to the industry, to the jobs in the industry. So what is KIFA doing to mitigate that? Where is the leadership taking us? Yeah, we're not just looking at, axle load controls, we're not going to load, that's a different thing. I think KIFA needs to be more policy based and have more vision on where the industry is going.
We were together in KCFTA before KIFA.
Yeah. Yes.
So what do you tell us?
It was a long time ago. I think KIFA in general, the industry needs to professionalize. So you need to have an education system which teaches the entire supply chain, logistics, and every other industry around needs logistics. You've got to move something either from the port to the factory or factory to the port or airport. So it should be treated in a different manner. I don't think the logistics trade has the same pull as probably manufacturing, your banking sector, finance sector. Those all are considered to be, sexy for a better word. The logistics trade sort of goes further down the line, but it's essential. And if we professionalize the industry, then I think we can move forward.
So we are saying that the future actually is bright for Kenya, the future is bright for East Africa.
Correct.
But we need to streamline certain things. We need to streamline the planning for the region, the East African community, and get our priorities right.
Yeah.
And we need to look at the areas where we will be competing with the other sectors, other regions of Africa, because
Yeah.
it's not just going to be one way, okay?
Absolutely.
And it's also going to be coming in. So one area that we need to look at, as I got it from you, is look at the border. How efficient is the border in terms of transiting that border?
It should be seamless. I mean, if you have an electronic seal attached to the Port of Mombasa,
Yes.
why do you need to re-verify everything at the border? You should just have a green gate, and especially if you got that clearance from the beginning,
Yes.
you go through the green gate and you proceed.
So that is one thing that we are coming up with, is that we need to center our manufacturing closest to power.
Absolutely.
Sources of power. So we need to look at areas like Nakuru, like Naivasha. I know there's a lot of gas in around Homa Bay that has now been exploited. So all those areas, we are saying that the government need to look at those areas and attract business around those areas so that we bring down the cost of production in the region.
And of course, as far as Mombasa is concerned,
Yes.
Nongokundu can be a
Yes.
major investment.
When I first started working in 1980, the first PDSR invited Jonathan Tree to come and talk to us with our principals from Europe.
Yeah.
And the speech that was given there, as the MD of KPA, was about the Nkumbu. All the other MDs, the first speech that they make is about the Nkumbu.
So do you know?
I'm glad it is coming.
The late Bob Renison,
Yes.
who was the chairman of KPA for
Yes,
a number of years,
yes,
mentioned that in the archives of KPA,
yes.
there is a whole feasibility
Yeah.
made in the 60s on Nongokundu and a free port. Exactly what Jebel Ali is in
Yes.
the UAE.
Yes.
Nongokundu was to be in Mombasa.
Every government
Yeah.
has passed
But now that they built the bypass,
it. Yes.
they need to develop the industrial.
It was back,
Then there is, and if they bring gas from Tanzania by pipeline into it, a lot can be done.
I want to ask you a question. You need to answer me. In Dubai, we say Dubai is duty free. I think when the late President Moi visited Dubai, he came back and made an announcement that Mombasa was going to be duty free. Is there scope, is there hope for Kenya to consider Mombasa being duty
Well,
free?
the Nongokundu SEZ would be duty free.
Yeah.
But Dubai today has duty, it has VAT, it has everything. I mean, the rest of it outside the free zones,
Yeah.
you have to pay. The governments need to collect revenue to invest.
So we need to learn from that.
Correct.
To be able to know how to attract business and then find ways of taxing it again.
Correct.
At the end of the day. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good talking to you.
Nice. It's very informative.
Don't make it another 30 years.
We might not be around.
Oh, definitely.
I'm truly honored. I'm truly honored.
No,
that, I could
I'm equally honored. It's great to see you.
I'm seeing this. Dear friends, this brings us to the end of this very interesting conversation with our dear friends Hanif and Jeff. And I'd like to encourage you to continue watching Fred Logic's Hub podcast. We'll be telling you more about the history of logistics in Kenya and East Africa, how it is spreading all over as we also embrace Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Thank you so much. Please like it and share.